Imagine this. You're relaxing on a Tuesday night, scrolling through your usual sister wives forum, maybe sipping a glass of wine, when suddenly a post stops you in your tracks. Your heart skips because someone claiming insider knowledge has just dropped what could be the biggest shocker in years. According to this rumor, Janelle Brown has taken Kody and Robyn to court over stolen assets, and word is she walked away with a $127,000 win. Now, hold on to your coffee mugs because it only gets crazier from here. To be clear, these are unverified claims floating around Reddit and fan communities. There are no official court documents backing this up. But here's the detail that has everyone buzzing: that oddly specific dollar figure. When gossip comes with a number as exact as $127,000, longtime reality TV fans know it usually means one of two things. Either somebody really does have inside information, or the fan storytelling has reached award-winning levels of imagination. And then there's the supposed reason for all the secrecy. According to whispers online, TLC has allegedly asked everyone involved to stay quiet until after season 20 airs. If that's true, it paints a familiar picture: a network prioritizing ratings and entertainment value over real-life family justice. Honestly, that's reality TV in a nutshell. But let's pause here. After more than 30 years of watching Janelle play the calm, practical voice of reason in this chaotic marriage, would anyone really be surprised if she finally drew a line in the sand? This is the same woman who questioned every risky financial move, who kept a steady job outside the home to support the family, and who ultimately walked away from Flagstaff when the money just didn't make sense. The Sister Wives fan base is practically buzzing with excitement over these rumors, and that reaction alone tells us something. Even if the claims prove false, the sheer passion behind them shows how badly viewers want to see real accountability when it comes to this family's finances. Because let's be honest, anyone who's ever balanced a household budget while watching someone else spend recklessly knows the deep satisfaction of seeing financial justice served, and that's only the start of this alleged legal battle. The more you look at Janelle's history with Kody, the more complicated this financial puzzle becomes. To really understand how we got here, you have to rewind. Picture Janelle in the early 1990s, young, newly in plural marriage, hopeful about her future, but already practical when it came to money. She brought her own income into the marriage, worked consistently outside the home, and quickly became part of a growing financial network. Shared properties, business ventures, and family investments, all tied to the Brown name. For anyone who's ever combined finances in marriage, this should sound familiar. But in plural marriage, it's even more complicated. You're not just blending the earnings of two spouses. You're mixing the contributions, sacrifices, and incomes of multiple wives, all managed under one man's control. For someone like Janelle, who valued her independence and built her own career, trusting this system was a huge leap of faith. Over the years, through countless moves, mortgages, and family projects, Janelle wasn't just watching from the sidelines. She was often the one keeping things afloat. Her steady paycheck and her real estate work provided stability when other Brown family ventures fell apart. Anyone who's ever been the responsible one in a partnership while the other person chases risky ideas knows exactly what that feels like. And that brings us back to the asset theft rumors. If there's any truth behind them, it could mean that decades of Janelle's contributions weren't properly safeguarded once the family structure started to collapse. Think about it. When a plural marriage falls apart, there isn't a clear legal system to split things fairly. Traditional divorce laws weren't designed for multiple wives and shared family assets, and that legal gray area could explain why the alleged courtroom battle even exists. The whispers suggest that as Kody and Robyn's relationship grew more dominant in the family, the financial decisions may have started tilting in their favor, leaving the other wives at a disadvantage. Properties that Janelle helped pay for, businesses she supported, even basic household costs that were supposed to be divided fairly. All of this could, in theory, become the basis for legal action if someone believed their contributions were being mishandled. What makes this especially frustrating for longtime viewers is that Janelle has always been the financial realist of the group. She raised concerns about the move to Flagstaff, she questioned the way properties were being purchased, and she consistently argued for practical money management, while others focused on the dream of family unity. So if these rumors are true, this wouldn't be about spite. It would be about Janelle finally saying, "Show me the receipts," after decades of putting trust in a system that may never have protected her interests. And then there's that $127,000 figure. If accurate, it shows this isn't just about hurt feelings or sibling rivalries. That's a serious sum of money, the kind that can change someone's financial stability, retirement plans, or long-term security. Now, let's sit with that number for a moment. $127,000 isn't pocket change. It's not a squabble over groceries or gas money. That's the kind of amount that points to a systematic issue: money being shifted, withheld, or mismanaged over a long period of time. And for women who know the price of butter at 3 different grocery stores, that precision doesn't feel random. It feels significant. So what could $127,000 actually represent inside the complicated financial system of the Brown family? Let's break it down the way fans have been doing online, like amateur accountants piecing together a case. It could represent Janelle's share of property equity that was mishandled. Over the years, the Browns bought and sold multiple homes, Las Vegas houses, Flagstaff land, rental properties, and investments. Janelle's name was on mortgages, and her financial contributions kept the family solvent, but ownership documents may not have reflected her true stake. Or it could represent years of financial diversion. Think about monthly bills, mortgage payments, joint investments, or even TLC earnings that were supposed to be divided fairly, but allegedly weren't. When you're dealing with reality TV paychecks on top of multiple business ventures, those imbalances can pile up quickly, faster than a credit card statement after Christmas. Here's why the figure strikes such a chord with fans. It isn't exaggerated to sound like revenge money, but it's not so small that it could be dismissed as a minor household disagreement. It sits in that middle ground, big enough to demand legal attention, precise enough to suggest actual accounting. That's why the Sister Wives community has been analyzing this number like forensic investigators. Some theories point to property records where Janelle's financial backing wasn't properly reflected in ownership. Others look at old business ventures, the many Brown family projects over the years where initial investments may never have been repaid. And then there's the idea of compound harm. It's not just the $127,000 itself, but what that money could have grown into if it had been invested, saved, or used wisely. For a woman like Janelle, who always thought about long-term stability, that loss would cut deep. But beyond the math, the symbolism is powerful. $127,000 could pay off college loans, provide a retirement cushion, or give Janelle's kids real financial security. It's the kind of sum that working women sacrifice for, save for, and plan their futures around. If these allegations are true, then this isn't just a courtroom battle. It's a woman finally drawing the line after years of financial manipulation. And the exactness of that figure? It suggests that if legal action did take place, this wasn't based on guesses or emotions. Someone combed through paperwork, ran numbers, maybe even used forensic accounting to figure out exactly how much money was unaccounted for. But here's where things get even more interesting. Let's talk about the bigger player in the room, the network itself. According to unverified fan whispers, TLC may have asked everyone to keep quiet about these legal proceedings until after season 20 airs. If that's true, then what we're seeing isn't just a family dispute. It's an example of how the entertainment industry can put ratings above reality. From TLC's perspective, think about what that would mean. Think about TLC's position for a moment. They've got a reality series that's been running for over a decade, a true cash cow bringing in millions through advertising and keeping fans hooked through endless crises, moves, and family drama. Season 20 isn't just another season. It's a huge milestone, the kind networks love to market as special anniversary content. For executives, the last thing they'd want is a real-life courtroom showdown, overshadowing the scripted drama they've worked so hard to package for TV. But here's where things get tricky, and where plenty of women who've navigated office politics will nod knowingly. If TLC really did tell the cast to keep quiet about financial disputes, that would mean they're asking real people to put aside their own legal rights just so the show can stay shiny for advertisers. That's like telling someone not to report a burglary because it might ruin the neighborhood's block party, and the timing, it feels too deliberate to ignore. Networks build entire promotional campaigns around milestone seasons, Advertisers pay more, lapsed viewers often tune back in, and every storyline is carefully polished to maximize ratings. A $127,000 lawsuit between cast members? That could blow up their marketing plan overnight. It also raises bigger questions about power. Cast members in reality TV often sign contracts with clauses about what they can say publicly, how they handle disputes, and even what legal actions they can pursue without jeopardizing the show's reputation. If the rumors are true, this might be one of those moments where the network's interests get pushed ahead of the individuals, and that's exactly why fans are furious. And honestly, they have a point. These aren't fictional characters in a soap opera. They're people with real money, real security, and real futures at stake. Asking someone to shelve a financial lawsuit over $127,000, a life-changing sum for most families, just because it might complicate TV scheduling, feels downright wrong. What's fascinating, though, is how TLC might be misjudging its own audience. Today's reality TV fans can tell the difference between scripted drama and actual conflict. If anything, a real lawsuit with genuine financial consequences would likely attract more attention than another roundtable of staged family talks. Ironically, by allegedly trying to bury the story, TLC could be fueling even more speculation and more anticipation for season 20. Because here's the kicker. The Sister Wives fandom isn't sitting back quietly. The moment those lawsuit whispers hit Reddit, it was like someone rang a bell. Across living rooms, book clubs, and group chats, women everywhere pulled out their laptops and went into detective mode. The subreddit became ground zero for a kind of crowdsourced investigation that rivals what private investigators do for a living. These women aren't just chatting, they're dissecting. They're pulling property records from Las Vegas and Flagstaff, tracking deed transfers, and mapping out mortgage documents. Others are crunching numbers on TLC earnings, estimating exactly what the Browns could have pulled in over 20 seasons. And then there's the timeline team, cross-referencing show footage, old interviews, and real-world events to piece together a financial puzzle that's been years in the making. The level of detail is jaw-dropping. Fans are connecting dots between a throwaway comment Janelle made back in season 12 and a property purchase 3 years later. They're digging up past interviews where she voiced concerns about financial fairness and tying those moments to recent whispers about missing money. And here's the part that makes this fan investigation so unique. It isn't just gossip. These are women bringing serious real-world expertise to the table. Retired accountants are explaining exactly how asset division could play out in a family as complex as the Browns. Former real estate agents are breaking down the legal implications of who appears on a deed. Women who've survived their own messy divorces or financial disputes are sharing insights about court strategy and outcomes. This isn't idle chatter. It's a collective crash course in financial detective work. On Facebook, the fan groups have turned into war rooms. Evidence gets posted, debated, and cross-checked like it's a high-stakes investigation. Someone will share a screenshot of a property record, and within hours, 5 others will have connected it to social media activity, past show footage, or public documents to confirm or disprove its importance. It's collaborative fact-checking on overdrive, powered by collective frustration over what feels like financial injustice. What's most striking is how seriously these online communities are treating the alleged lawsuit. For many women, Janelle's rumored legal action feels personal. It's not just gossip. It's the fantasy of finally seeing someone held accountable for financial manipulation, something too many have faced in their own lives. Every woman who has ever discovered a hidden debt, questioned unexplained expenses, or felt financially manipulated by a partner is seeing herself in these whispers. And the momentum is only building. Each new piece of supposed evidence sparks 10 more questions, sending fans diving into property records, archived interviews, and old TLC clips. They're mapping out the Browns' entire financial ecosystem with the precision of forensic accountants taking on a corporate fraud case. But here's where things get even more interesting. These Reddit detectives aren't just chasing down one rumor about Janelle. They're uncovering patterns that point to something much bigger. The way TV networks handle legal disputes when money and ratings are at stake, and what they're finding is both eye-opening and deeply concerning. Let's start with the obvious comparisons. Think back to the Duggar family, when serious legal scandals surfaced, and TLC's first move was damage control, not transparency. Or consider the Real Housewives franchises, where bankruptcies and federal investigations often got spun into entertainment instead of being addressed honestly. Fans are recognizing a familiar script: silence, spin, and storyline control. And they're now seeing Janelle's rumored lawsuit as part of that larger network playbook. But the investigation doesn't stop at comparing shows. The community is digging into how long-running reality series are structured financially. A show like Sister Wives generates millions over 20 seasons through production companies, licensing, merchandising, and international sales. That creates a massive incentive for networks to bury legal conflicts, at least until they've cashed in on milestone seasons like season 20. Digging deeper, fans are also examining how cast contracts typically work. Legal experts chiming in on forums point out that most reality TV contracts give networks heavy control over what cast members can say publicly, sometimes even about legal disputes. The theory is that if Janelle really did file a lawsuit, she could be bound by contractual restrictions that prevent her from talking until certain conditions are met, and that realization has struck a nerve. Because what these women are recognizing in the Browns' alleged story mirrors patterns many of them have faced personally. Financial choices made without input, assets moved in ways that benefited someone else, or being shut out of key financial decisions. Every woman who's ever had her name quietly taken off a bank account or discovered a major purchase after the fact sees something familiar in these rumors. They're also pointing out the timing. Financial abuse and manipulation often intensify when relationships break down. If Janelle really is pursuing legal action now, it makes sense. As plural marriages collapse and family loyalties shift, resources often get funneled toward the relationships being prioritized, in this case, Kody and Robyn. Women who've lived through divorce are sharing eerily similar stories, and the parallels are striking. But the most groundbreaking idea the community is circling is how plural marriage makes these disputes even more complicated. Traditional marriage laws at least offer frameworks for dividing assets and protecting spouses. But when multiple wives, joint businesses, and shared homes are involved, there's no clear legal roadmap. If Janelle's alleged case is real, it could set a precedent for how financial disputes in plural families are handled in the future. And then there's the question of how such disputes get resolved. Fans have uncovered examples from other reality shows where lawsuits ended quietly, settled with non-disclosure agreements, payouts, and polished PR campaigns. If the $127,000 figure is real, it fits that mold perfectly, big enough to matter, but small enough for a network to swallow as a cost of doing business. That's why this rumor has transformed into something bigger than one woman's possible legal victory. It's become a movement, women supporting women, a spark of solidarity that's spreading far beyond the fandom. Group chats are lighting up, Facebook groups are buzzing, and coffee shop conversations are shifting from small talk to financial empowerment strategies. This alleged lawsuit has tapped into something powerful. Women are opening up about their own stories of money manipulation, celebrating Janelle's rumored courage, and building a virtual support network that crosses generations and state lines. The energy is electric, and it's reshaping the way this community views not only the Browns, but their own financial lives. It's like watching a national sisterhood activate in real time. Every woman who's ever felt financially powerless suddenly finding her voice through these unverified allegations. What's especially moving is how this rumored lawsuit is sparking women to look at their own financial lives with fresh eyes. The Sister Wives forums are now full of posts from women requesting bank statements they've never seen, asking about property ownership they've never questioned, and finally having tough conversations about transparency they've been avoiding for years. Whether true or not, Janelle's alleged lawsuit has become a catalyst for real-world empowerment, and the solidarity goes far beyond emotional support. Women with legal experience are sharing free advice about asset protection. Retired financial planners are offering tips on spotting red flags in family money management. Even women who've never watched a single episode are joining in because the theme of financial justice resonates with their own experiences of being sidelined or manipulated financially. But here's where the response gets truly powerful. It's not just about celebrating a rumored victory. The community is turning it into a teachable moment. Discussions have evolved into masterclasses on financial self-protection. Women are swapping practical strategies about keeping separate accounts, documenting contributions, and protecting assets inside marriages. It's like a massive, crowdsourced financial literacy workshop fueled by collective outrage over possible injustice. The intergenerational element makes it even more inspiring. Older women are sharing hard-earned wisdom about independence. Younger women are bringing in new perspectives on modern relationships and legal safeguards. Mothers are teaching daughters what to watch for, while daughters are teaching mothers about online banking and digital tracking tools. It's a two-way exchange that's bridging generations. At the same time, the community has become a space for processing old financial wounds. Women are sharing stories of discovering hidden debt, learning about secret investments, or finding out that joint properties weren't actually joint at all. Each testimony adds another piece to the larger picture of how financial manipulation often hides in plain sight within families, and the conversations are reaching far beyond reality TV. These discussions are digging into systemic issues: how financial abuse escalates during breakups, how complicated family structures can be used to hide assets, and how traditional laws fail to protect women in non-traditional arrangements. It's even taking on an activist edge. Women are pushing for better legal protections in plural marriages, more transparency in reality TV contracts, and real accountability for networks that profit from dysfunction while silencing financial truth. What started as gossip has evolved into genuine social justice advocacy. And now comes the million-dollar question: what happens next? Behind the scenes, seasoned family law attorneys are whispering about this alleged case, and their insights are fascinating. Lawyers who've handled high-stakes asset disputes are looking at the rumors and speculating about strategies that could, if even half true, reshape how financial conflicts in non-traditional families are resolved. First, there's the timing. Legal experts note that if Janelle really did file, doing so after the family structure dissolved, but before major milestones like season 20 airs, would be a brilliant move. It maximizes leverage, both legally and against the network's business interests. That level of precision suggests someone with savvy legal guidance, someone who understands both family law and entertainment industry tactics. Then there's that number, $127,000. To lawyers, it's fascinating. It's big enough to justify the costs of legal action, but not so massive that it would provoke an all-out defense. Attorneys speculate this could represent a calculated settlement sweet spot, meaningful financial justice, but reasonable enough to encourage quick resolution instead of a long, ugly fight. Even more intriguing is how such a lawsuit might be structured. Because plural marriages lack a standard legal framework for asset division, any legal action here would have to be creative. Some attorneys theorize it wouldn't look like a traditional divorce at all, but might involve contract disputes, partnership dissolutions, or even fraud allegations, depending on how the finances were originally set up. And then there's the wild card: TLC. If the network really is involved, that adds a whole other layer of legal complexity, the kind that has entertainment lawyers leaning in closely. If the network really did ask for silence until after season 20, that opens up a whole new layer of legal implications. Any cast member involved in a legitimate financial dispute could potentially use that delay as additional leverage. Networks that interfere with legal proceedings to protect their business interests may end up facing far bigger liabilities than they ever anticipated. And this is where things get especially interesting for legal experts. Veteran family attorneys are suggesting that, if real, this alleged lawsuit could serve as a test case, one that establishes important precedents for handling financial disputes within plural marriage situations. Because traditional marriage law doesn't properly address these complex arrangements, any successful legal action could provide a blueprint for others in similar situations to follow. The timing also fascinates legal minds. If the rumors are accurate, the alleged resolution is happening right after major family transitions, but before big media milestones. To experienced attorneys, that looks like intentional, strategic timing. It maximizes financial recovery while also accounting for public relations. In other words, it doesn't feel coincidental. It feels deliberate. Another reason lawyers are intrigued: this case, if real, could shine light on how reality TV money actually flows. It might reveal how TLC earnings are split, how family business ventures are structured, and who truly has financial authority in such complicated family setups. That's information networks generally keep tightly under wraps, but perhaps the most compelling speculation is about precedent. If someone successfully pursued financial recovery from within a plural marriage over asset management, it could fundamentally reshape how these families handle their finances moving forward. The ripple effect could be massive. And then comes the biggest question. What happens when entertainment industry interests collide with legitimate legal rights? This is where things start to get uncomfortable, and where viewers should really be paying attention. Let's be blunt. If the rumors about network interference are true, we may be looking at a case where a major corporation prioritized entertainment profits over someone's access to justice. That's not just questionable, it's the kind of corporate behavior that should make viewers and advertisers stop and ask what they're really supporting. The alleged season 20 timing shows just how calculated these decisions can be. Networks don't stumble into milestone seasons. They map them out years in advance. Marketing campaigns, ad sales, promotional strategies. If TLC really did pressure cast members to hold off on legal proceedings until after the anniversary season aired, then real financial disputes were essentially placed second to a marketing calendar. And here's the bigger problem. Today's reality TV audiences are smarter than ever. They can tell the difference between authentic drama and manufactured storylines. If season 20 airs with neatly packaged family conflict while genuine legal battles are quietly suppressed in the background, that crosses a line. It's no longer just editing. It's outright manipulation of both cast members and the audience. That's why the Sister Wives community is so outraged. They've been emotionally invested in these women's lives for over a decade. These aren't fictional characters whose stories can be twisted for drama. They're real women with children to raise and financial futures to protect. If networks really interfered with legitimate legal processes to protect their content, then human lives were treated as less important than ratings. And the power imbalance here is staggering. If contracts actually restrict cast members from speaking about financial disputes that directly affect their livelihood, that level of control goes far beyond a normal employment agreement. It's essentially asking people to trade away their legal rights so the network can continue profiting off their personal lives. The long-term implications are disturbing. If major media companies can delay or suppress real legal cases to protect TV programming, what else gets manipulated for the sake of entertainment? How many financial disputes, custody battles, or family crises are managed around filming schedules instead of what's actually best for the people living through them? But maybe the most frustrating part of this whole alleged situation is how it treats the audience. Viewers who've been following the Sister Wives family for 20 seasons have poured in time, emotions, and genuine care for these real people's lives. If networks truly suppressed real financial justice just to create scripted tension for season 20, that's not just manipulation. It's a complete disregard for the loyalty and trust of the audience. And the reaction from the Sister Wives community shows something powerful about where viewers stand today. People don't want staged drama. They want authenticity. They want to see real women dealing with real challenges, not scripted storylines designed to sell more ads. Which brings us to the big question, the one hanging over everything right now. We're at a crossroads, rumor versus reality, entertainment versus justice. The entire Sister Wives community is watching closely, waiting to see what unfolds. Whether Janelle's rumored $127,000 legal victory proves to be fact or fiction, the truth is this. The conversations it has sparked and the patterns it has revealed have already reshaped the way people think about reality, TV, financial justice, and the power dynamics behind both. If the rumors are true, we could be witnessing a major shift in how financial disputes get handled in unconventional family structures. Janelle's alleged success could motivate not just her fellow cast members, but also other reality TV families and countless women in similar situations to pursue justice of their own. That $127,000 might be more than just a settlement. It could be the first domino in a much bigger movement for accountability. But even if the entire story turns out to be nothing more than passionate fan speculation, the impact is already real. Women across the country are looking at their finances differently. They're asking new questions about asset protection. They're starting conversations with partners and families that they've avoided for years. And they're building networks of support that go far beyond gossip about a TV show. The alleged interference by TLC, real or imagined, has opened eyes to the uncomfortable reality of how entertainment priorities can conflict with cast members' actual lives. When season 20 airs, it will do so under unprecedented scrutiny. Viewers will analyze every word, every scene, wondering whether financial conversations were edited out or softened because of legal restrictions. That awareness can't be undone. So, what should the community be paying attention to as this story develops? First, listen closely to how the cast talks about money during season 20. If there really were limits placed on what they could say, the silence itself may speak volumes. Second, watch property records and public documents. The same detective work that surfaced these initial allegations could just as easily uncover proof or debunk the claims entirely. The larger implications go well beyond one family's financial drama. If TV networks are meddling in real legal disputes to protect their shows, that's an industry-wide problem. It could raise red flags for advertisers, viewers, and even regulators who may start taking a harder look at how these contracts and productions are managed. For every woman who's ever felt sidelined, manipulated, or excluded from financial decisions, this story, true or not, offers something powerful: the reminder that justice is possible, that accountability is not out of reach, that financial empowerment doesn't have to stay a dream. What the Sister Wives community has shown is remarkable. When women stand together, share knowledge, and turn their frustrations into action, things change. Whether or not Janelle actually won a $127,000 settlement, the movement of solidarity, awareness, and empowerment is already a victory in its own right. And let's be honest, the next video, the next wave of discussion, the next piece of information is already on its way. Something tells me the next round of financial revelations will be even more explosive. So now I want to hear from you. Do you believe the rumors about Janelle's $127,000 legal win are fact or fan-driven fantasy? And which part of this story grabs you most? The alleged settlement amount, the surprise timing, or the idea that TLC may have put ratings ahead of justice? Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this Sister Wives financial saga is far from over.